I work as a special ed teacher. My student's condition is far worse than autism. I used to work with a weird kid named Trevor. His parents and teacher were convinced he was on the autism spectrum, possibly an Asperger's kid. I've worked with autists though, and I've been around savants. I could tell Trevor didn't have autism. I just never knew how bad it really was. I don't know what he had, but he acted different. Somehow he even felt different. It's hard to explain. Anyway, I worked in a special ed class with 10 kids, but most of our time was spent broken into even smaller groups. I had Trevor and 2 other kids, and I honestly think they gave me Trevor when I started because I was new, and they didn't want anything to do with him. He creeped me out at first, but eventually Trevor became my buddy. Little did I know this mistake would end up ruining my life forever. I had actual conversations with him even though the other teachers hadn't heard him say a single word before I was hired on. Trevor also used to have obedience problems, but once we developed a rapport, it seemed like I could get him to behave with the quickest of glances. He was a good little guy, even if he was really weird. A few months into working with him, Trevor decided he wanted to know all about me. Every day at recess I would walk with him to a small oak tree he liked, and every day it was a new set of questions. Where was I born? How old was I? What did I want to be when I was a kid? He remembered each answer and built off of them the next day, asking in his innocent, inquisitive, almost feline way. And then the questions got downright bizarre. One day Trevor asked if my arm still hurt from my car wreck. I've only ever been in one car wreck, a T-bone in high school. I dislocated my shoulder and totaled my car in that accident, and sometimes my shoulder still bothered me. I was pretty sure I hadn't mentioned it in class, but not certain, so I let it slide. The next day, again at his oak tree, Trevor asked me a question I knew for a fact I hadn't talked about in class. In fact, I had tried to not even think about the event for years. He said, "Why did Chris want to hurt you?" Chris was a boyfriend from college, a boyfriend, a stupid mistake, and a violent criminal. We met in a psych survey course. He was a year older than me and he looked really good in a tank top. Anyway, we went on a few dates before Chris suggested we watch a movie at his dorm room. I agreed, but Chris wanted to do more than watch TV. We made out a little, but then I stopped it before it went any further. Chris got really angry and I left. The next date went the same way. I figured it was typical horny guy hormones and he would calm down eventually. When he didn't, I broke up with him. That was when the trouble started. He started following me. One night I actually called campus police to request an escort back to my dorm. Chris picked the lock one night and left flowers and a long poem on my couch. When I didn't call him, he broke in again and confronted me. I ended up with a broken rib, a cracked cheekbone, and a missing tooth. My roommate came home when Chris was unbuckling his belt and I was trying to stay conscious on my kitchen floor.